What if chasing happiness is making you miserable? In a world obsessed with positivity and success, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson flips the script. This book isn't about ignoring life, it's about focusing on what truly matters and letting go of the rest. Ready to discover a raw, honest way to live a meaningful life? Let's unpack the key lessons from this game-changing book. Welcome to Pages Unpacked, where we summarize different books, fiction, nonfiction, self-help, and others. Today I'm bringing you a book that doesn't sugarcoat life's realities. It's raw, honest, and refreshingly different from your typical self-help book. Life today pushes us to always be happy, positive, and successful, but what if that's the wrong approach? The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson says stop trying to care about everything. Instead, focus on what's important to you and let go of the rest. This isn't about being cold or lazy, it's about choosing your battles wisely to live a life that feels real and meaningful. In this summary, we'll break down the book's 9 chapters with stories and lessons to help you stress less and live better. Let's get started. Chapter 1: Stop Trying So Hard. Imagine a guy named Charles Bukowski. He was a heavy drinker and gambler who seemed like a total failure. He wanted to be a writer, but his work kept getting rejected. For years, he struggled with alcohol and depression. Then a small publisher gave him a chance. Bukowski grabbed it, wrote his first book, and went on to sell over 2 million copies of his works. His secret: he didn't try to be perfect. He accepted himself, flaws and all. This chapter teaches us that trying too hard to be happy or successful can trap you in a cycle of stress. For example, if you're upset about being lonely, overthinking it makes you feel worse. Manson calls this the feedback loop from hell. Long ago, people didn't obsess over every bad moment, they just got back to work. Today, social media makes us feel like everyone else is doing better, which can spark shame. The fix: stop caring about things that don't matter. Accept that life has ups and downs. When you stop chasing perfection, you free yourself to live better. Not caring doesn't mean giving up, it means staying calm and being yourself even when things go wrong. Chapter 2: Happiness Isn't What You Think. Happiness isn't about avoiding pain, it's about solving problems you care about. This chapter starts with a story from 2,500 years ago in Nepal. A king wanted his son to have a perfect life, so he built a palace to shield him from pain. But the prince wasn't happy. He left the palace and saw people suffering from hunger and disease. Shocked, he gave up his royal life to live as a beggar. After years of hardship, he realized that pain is part of life and running from it doesn't work. Manson says life is full of struggles. Rich people worry about losing money, poor people worry about not having enough. Happiness comes from facing problems, not dodging them. Think about it: when you work out, the pain leads to stronger muscles. When you fail, it pushes you to try harder. Emotions are like signals. Negative ones tell you something needs fixing, while positive ones reward you for doing well. The real question is, what do you want? But what pain are you willing to face? Choose struggles that matter to you, because life will give you pain either way. Facing it head-on is the key to feeling alive. Chapter 3: You're Not That Special. We all like to think we're unique, but believing you're the best without effort can hurt you. This chapter tells the story of Jimmy, a guy who acted like he was a big deal. He lived off his parents' money, spent big at bars, and bragged about his business ideas, none of which worked. In the 1960s, the idea that everyone's special became popular, but it led to problems. If you think you deserve everything without working for it, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. Manson says real growth comes from knowing your flaws. If you believe you're perfect, you won't face challenges or learn from mistakes. Social media and ads make us feel like we're the center of the world, but that's not true. Everyone has problems and yours aren't unique. Accepting that you're just human, not better or worse than others, frees you from unrealistic expectations. Greatness comes from admitting you're not great yet and working to improve. Being ordinary is okay. It's the starting point for becoming better. Chapter 4: What's Worth Suffering For. What are you willing to struggle for? This chapter shares the story of Hiro Onoda, a Japanese soldier who kept fighting World War II for 27 years after it ended. He hid on an island, thinking the war was still on because he was ordered never to surrender. His story shows how bad priorities can waste your life. Manson says good values like honesty, hard work, or helping others give your life meaning. Bad values like chasing fame or always being right lead to stress. Good values are things you can control and that help others. For example, being honest builds trust, while showing off wealth just makes you look silly. Suffering is part of life, so pick struggles that matter. Understanding your emotions is like peeling an onion. It's tough and might make you cry, but it helps you grow. Choose goals based on what you truly care about, not what society tells you to want. That's how you find purpose. Chapter 5: You're Always Choosing. You're always making choices, even if you don't realize it. This chapter tells the story of William James, a philosopher with health problems who couldn't leave home much. He loved painting, but no one thought he was good at it. His father pushed him to study medicine, but James chose to join an expedition to the Amazon. He got sick there and almost died, but he kept going. One night, he decided to take full responsibility for his life. That choice led him to become a famous psychologist. Manson says blaming others is easy, but owning your choices is powerful. For example, if your partner says you need to lose weight or they'll leave, you might do it, but you'll feel empty because it wasn't your choice. When you choose your own struggles, you feel proud even if it's hard. Life throws problems at you, so pick the ones worth fighting for. Taking responsibility gives you control and makes you stronger. Chapter 6: You're wrong about everything and so am I. Nobody's right all the time. This chapter starts with a wild fact. 500 years ago, people thought the earth was flat. Sounds crazy now, but back then it was truth. Manson shares a story about Meredith Marin, a writer who wrongly believed her father abused her as a child. That false memory hurt her family until she realized it wasn't true. We all believe things that turn out to be wrong, and that's okay. It's how we learn. Being too sure of yourself stops you from growing. For example, if you're certain you'll get a promotion and someone else gets it, you feel crushed. Doubt keeps you open to new ideas. Science never says anything is 100% true. There's always room for new discoveries. Manson says to ask, "What if I'm wrong?" It's scary, but it helps you stay humble and learn. Life's more fun when you're open to being wrong sometimes. Chapter 7: Failure's Your Friend. Failure isn't the enemy, it's how you grow. Manson shares a story about Picasso, the famous painter. One day Picasso was doodling on a napkin in a cafe. A woman wanted to buy it, but he asked for $20,000. She was shocked, saying it only took 2 minutes. Picasso replied it took 60 years of practice to draw like that. He failed many times before becoming great. Manson also talks about his own struggles during the Great Recession when he faced debt and stress. Those failures taught him how the world works. The lesson: start small. If you're stuck, do one tiny thing like writing a sentence or taking a walk. This do something principle sparks motivation. Kids don't quit walking after falling because they don't fear failure. Adults should think the same way. Choose goals you can control, like learning a skill, not things like getting rich. Failure teaches you to keep going, and that's how you win. Chapter 8: Say No to Save Your Life. Healthy relationships need boundaries. This chapter looks at Romeo and Juliet, a love story that's not as romantic as it seems. Their families hated each other and their rushed love led to tragedy. Both died for no good reason. Manson says real love isn't about escaping problems, it's about facing them together. Saying no sometimes builds trust. For example, if your partner does something that bothers you, tell them honestly instead of pretending it's fine. Saying yes to everything weakens your opinions and relationships. Choosing one path like a career or partner means saying no to others, and that's okay. It shows you're committed to what matters. Honesty, even when it's hard, makes relationships stronger. If you lie or hide your feelings, you're not building trust, you're avoiding it. Set boundaries to live with purpose. Chapter 9: Face Death, Find Meaning. Death is scary, but it can teach you how to live. Manson shares a personal story about his friend Josh, who died at 19 after jumping into a lake while drunk. For years, Manson felt guilty and depressed. Then in a dream, Josh asked why he was so focused on his death when he was wasting his own life. That moment helped Manson realize he couldn't control death, but he could control how he lived. Facing death, whether yours or someone else's, shows you what's worth caring about. Manson also talks about standing on cliffs to feel alive, reminding himself life is short. The butterfly effect says small actions like a kind word can make a big impact. Don't ignore the big question: how do you want to live before you die? Living fully means embracing struggles and letting go of things that don't matter. Death comes for everyone, but until then, choose to live with joy and purpose. In conclusion, the subtle art of not giving a fuck isn't about ignoring life, it's about choosing what to care about. Life is short and you can't care about everything. Manson says to let go of shallow goals like fame or constant happiness. Instead, focus on values like honesty, hard work, and love. Failure, pain, and even death are part of life, but they help you grow by picking struggles that matter and letting go of the rest. You free yourself from stress and find real meaning. This book teaches us to live authentically, embrace challenges, and stop worrying about things we can't control. That's the secret to a life that feels full and free. There you go, that's the subtle art in a nutshell. If you loved this video, smash that like button, share it with someone who stresses too much. Let me know what book you'd like me to summarize next in the comments. Your support means a lot, and don't forget to subscribe for more book summary. Thanks for watching, see you next time.